All right, and so we're saying, what are we saying? We're saying y is down, right? Or x is down. Yeah, so let's just say x is out. So we want to rotate this negative 90 degrees on z. And so that will give us where our y is facing out. So what we want to do is we want to bring this up to the mouth. Let's go back to our top view. Go back to wireframe. We need to scale this down. So let's see what 0.5 looks like. No, 0.07. That was to the jaw. 0.5. 0.5. 0.05. No, that's tiny. That's tiny, tiny, tiny. Where's our tongue at? Let's see. Our tongue is right here. That's super small. Let's go back to wireframe here. I'm just switching back and forth to get a better idea of where things are. So our tongue is down a little bit more. Remember, you can press F to cycle around or to focus on the object and then toggle or move around, rotate around it. So this looks like where our tongue is located. You can see here's the top part of it and the bottom part of it. I'm just trying to make sure we're in the middle. And we want this to be larger. You're not gonna be able to select that. So let's say 0.2. And you can't select that control. So we need to probably change the control type to be I don't know if I like that. No, I don't like that either. Let's see. Let's do a cube. Yeah. And let's change the sphere to back to a cube as well. Let's keep it some kind of consistency. So that way we can actually see what our tongue is like. It should be centered. Let's go back to our top view. If we zoom in, we can see we are centered on our tongue. All right. So we're going to make 2 more of these, and we're going to parent it to this tongue. So let's save our file. Let's go back, just so it's cleaner. All right, and we're going to make another one. So we're almost done. This is literally the final stretch. We can also put something on the ears too, if you want to put some motion on the ears. And we can put some motion on the hair too. It's better to do it now than later, since we're here. But let's keep going. We're almost done. All right, so we're going to make another joint. This joint is going to be parented to the tongue. So look for the tongue in here. Joint tongue, joint tongue. There we go. And we want this to be tongue 2. And we're going to create. We want to match those values up. Whoa. That came in, I think, at the size of the controller. So let's go back and see what our controller size is. It is not the size of our controller. Oh, it looks very similar. All right, so let's go and get our snippet tool. And let's grab these values. Let's put the same values on there because we're just going to move it forward a little bit. So we are at 0, negative 7.17 to 99.65600, negative 90. Ooh, oh, that's right. The first one is to the jaw, and this one's to the tongue. So again, we're at the same discrepancy of these values. It's not going to be the same place because their parent is different. So everything else is the same. It's just that the location of it is not the same. So we just need to move this in place manually. And you can do this for each one because they're all going to have different parents, now that I think about it. So let's go back to our top view. All right, and you see there's our first one right here. We want to change that back to being a box or a cube and cube. So we're going to put this in our mid tongue area. I'm just moving this to be in the correct spot. What I want to see here is, man, it looks large. It looks very large for the controller. I don't think it needs to be that large. Let's go to this view. This is our side view. Yeah. All right, let's oh, if we change, it's gonna change the other ones too. That's fine. Let's leave that the size it is. What I'm looking for though is, let's go back to our face. Let's select the tongue. I want to see just where some of our segments are. I want to have this on a segment. So we have one at the very base where the line is at, and we got a segment here, row of segments. Then we got a row of segments here, here, and here. So I think I want to move it back a little bit, and then I'll give us enough room for the top one. So yeah, so let's deselect and put this back to object mode. Grab our controller, and we want to move it back to here along this row of segments. All right, now let's see what that looks like in here. I might have to move it down a little bit. Now I can be up, that's fine. Save your file. So like when you grab this now, you know, this will move both of them. That's what you want. It looks like I should move this up a little bit more. Oh man, I'm getting hungry. All right, I should move this up a little bit more. So once I have the controller where I want it, I'm going to want to move it and rotate it a little bit because it looks like there's a little bit of deformation in the tongue. It's not completely flat. So let's just create one more controller. And then that'll be last controller, and then we'll be done, and we'll be able to move on to the next part, which will be the skinning phase. This is the rigging phase, and we'll move on to the skinning phase, and I'll walk you through that whole process too. So let's just make one more controller. Let's go to our joint. This is going to be parented to joint tongue. And then it's going to be tongue. And we're just going to be as 03. Create. All right. And now you can't use the same values that we used before because the parent is different. So it's not going to be the same. So we're going to have to move this manually into place. Let's go to joint 3 and put this to be a cube so it's consistent. Let's go back to our top view. Oh, look at that, it's close. And now we just need to move it forward a little bit. Let's go back to our other view. Let's look at our side view and turn on our wireframe so we can see just where it's located. Now see, we're gonna have to keep this one up a little bit. The pivot is off because we wanna keep the same orientation for this. That's what we did on the first one, but then we had to move it manually. So we're gonna do the same thing on this, just we need to keep it consistent. So when we move it, we're not moving it all awkward. So let's get our snippet tool out, select the old joint or the previous joint, and let's grab our values, and then let's reselect our new controller. It doesn't stick out in the lips. That's good. Okay. I'm going back to perspective mode, and let's just put in these values for now. So I'm taking these values from what we just did our snippet tool from, 57.26. Whoa, that Z is 1,499. That's a lot of rotations. Oh well. Is that correct? Yeah, I guess it is. So 1499.332 and then 00 and then -90. Alright, so then you want to move that out. Alright, so now that that's moved out, let's see where it falls in the tongue. Let's go back to our left view. Go back to our top view. We're looking for that row of segments that complements this one. I think we're right on it, so it's not that bad. Alright, so let's just test this out. Let's save your file. Let's test this out. Let's select the joint tongue 1. That moves nice. Let's select tongue 2. That moves how we want it. Let's select tongue 3. And that moves how we want it. All right, good. That's good. I think we were going to add some cheeks. I don't think we need to. I think if we let's look at this. Let's look at the mesh again. I think if we just leave the cheeks how we have them, save your file again. Let's actually save another version. So if we do make any changes, we're not gonna change anything. Save scene as, and we'll do number 16 on here. We were going to put cheek controllers on this top cheek area right here. I don't think we need to, but we can since we're at this point. Now, there's a few things we can do. We can add those. We can add stuff for the ears. I'm not going to do that. That's overkill. We don't need to do that. Most times you're not going to animate them anyway unless you're doing something specific. And people's ears don't really move like crazy secondary. This is a human character, so let's just treat her like that. We want to do something for this hair, but we could leave it where the hair is dynamic. Yeah, man, we could leave it where the hair is dynamic. So it depends what you want to do with it, you know? So for now, let's leave the hair where it doesn't have a rig. Well, crap. Do I need to have a rig on it for it to be dynamic? Let me think right quick. Our goal is to take this all the way into Unreal. If you watch the previous videos, you'll know, that's what our goal is. I think when we paint the cloth on there, it doesn't need a rig on it. It's going to be weighted to something, which is fine, but it doesn't need its own rig. All right, let's do that. Let's do that. Let's leave it how it is. Let's leave this how it is. I think we're going to overcomplicate it. For those cheek controls, let's add it. Do we want to add it? I think we can, because this is only going to really affect this much of the cheek right here. There's going to be some fall off here and stuff, but that's not the same thing that pushes up. It could be. We may not need to have additional. Let me see. If we take this controller and we can